Great. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our first private investor event of the year featuring university startups, which is a terrific, innovative, and social impact education technology business committed to providing a better future for students and life learners empowered by a social and inclusive entrepreneurship mindset. Today's meeting is scheduled for 1 hour, and depending on the question and answer portion, we can keep the meeting open for as long as folks would like. As mentioned earlier, we're recording this meeting, and we'll follow up with an email to you with the deck from today, as well as the link so you can watch it again and or share it with other investor colleagues. Our host today is Skylar, and if you have any questions or issues, you can private chat with Sky or with myself. And the company will present for about 20 minutes or so, and then we'll go into a moderated question and answer session. You can post your questions directly into the group chat or raise your hand and we can call on you later. About halfway through the Q&A session, we will conduct a confidential poll to gauge investor interest, so please do respond, and we will only share the responses with the company, and we will not share that with the overall group. A little bit about university startups. The company is focused on helping students and their communities thrive by expanding their minds beyond traditional curricula. They create pathways to college and workforce through access to college prep, college counseling, internships, and new career opportunities. As it stands, underrepresented high school students lack access to college prep and job readiness training, resulting in lower paying jobs and over 60% of students not even attending college. So supported by a leading team of top-tier professors and partnering with key organizations, University Startups is providing a virtually delivered, hands-on program, and it's set to reverse this trend and reach 3,300 students by 2022. The company has made great progress to date. Traction includes having raised $1.1 million from the likes of TEDCO and other accredited investors, including the initial investor in Social Tables, as well as the founder of Blue Mercury. The company is currently in business. They're providing programs at a charter school, as well as an independent school, and they will be entering a school district this summer. Over 200 students have already completed the program. The rising tide that's lifting these boats is the fact that the future of education and economic growth is set to boom. The current $100 billion edtech market is forecasted to quadruple to $400 billion over the next 6 years, as well as legislative efforts such as the American Rescue Plan, which is allotting $120 billion to K-12 education. Also, there's currently a 425-to-1 counselor to student ratio in public schools. And those obviously in the under-resourced districts don't receive the same amount of attention and information, which results in confusion and discouragement around post-high school opportunities for these students. The results have been very impressive so far. Over 60% of students indicate that after completing one university startups course, they feel more prepared to be successful in high school, college, and in the workforce. University startups create students who are independent thinkers, self-confident, and doers. It's the only high school level course that leverages the entrepreneurial mindset profile from Eckerd College. And they're seeing consistent positive average increases across the board in terms of self-confidence, execution, future focus, idea generation, and risk acceptance. Overall, truly amazing stuff. And this is a true double bottom line company. And to tell you more about the company, I'd like to introduce the CEO and co-founder, Marc Steren. Marc is a good friend. I've known him for half a dozen years or so, as we are both entrepreneurs in residence at Georgetown University's McDonough School of Business. It's been great working with Marc and also seeing this company get off the ground and thrive so well so soon. Marc, congrats on everything so far, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, my friend. I sent Tien the slideshow yesterday, and he's like, holy cow, Steren, how many slides do you have? So I promised him no War and Peace today. Brevity is beauty, so we'll be brief, and we look forward to your questions. I also want to introduce my co-founder and co-CEO, John Jabara, is on the call as well, and he'll be part of the Q&A. We're really excited about today. So let's jump in. I always love to discuss real problems with real students, and that's what we have. This is Jay, she came to us. She's from Southeast. Her family's of modest means. She lives in Ward 7. Those who are not overly familiar with it, it's not the best area of town, but she has good grades and she has a super awesome passion for social justice, and she really wants to go to college. So what does it look like? What's a real chance of going to college? Well, if she was in the high income bracket, it would be about 60%, but she's not. If she was middle income family, it would be about 28%. But again, she's not part of that income level. She is part of the low income level, which has about a 12% chance of going to college. Why is college so important? You hear about it all the time. Well, we know statistically that over their lifetime, they'll earn an additional $1 million. They'll have a better job, which means more fulfilling. They'll have a higher quality of life, and they'll actually live longer if they graduate college. So what are her options? Let's take a look. She could go outside of school. She could get prep help. She could get college counseling help, essay writing. She could try to improve her college application through a summer experience. She could get an internship. All this will cost about $27,000. And let's be honest, Jay does not have that kind of means. How about in school? As Tien referred to, the actual ratio for college counselor to every student is 482 to 1. So what does that mean? When she meets with her college counselor once during the semester, she'll get a form to fill out, and they'll kind of say, hey, you're on your own. Good luck. We hope you get into college. So what's our mission? Why do we exist here at University Startups? Well, we want to set the students on two trajectories. Either A, get them into college, where we know statistically they'll be better off in life. But for those who don't want to attend college, we want to see them get a better paying job. So how do we do it? We do initially through a live synchronous social entrepreneurship course that is taught by one of our top tier professors. In this instance, Brooke Smith from the Stanford D School coach. She's also a professor at Georgetown University and University of Maryland. But she's not the only one working on this curriculum. We have a whole host of professors from Johns Hopkins, Cornell University, Harvard University Fellowship Program. Just a couple of weeks ago, Salima was at the UN discussing her book on innovation and how they can integrate innovation. This kind of access to these types of professors, quite candidly, these students would never, ever have an opportunity to see. So Jay, being amazing, took our course, and her group of students from Southeast came up with something called a buddy bear. A buddy bear is to hold on to when they're anxious or they hear gunfire outside. But the clever innovation is they put a QR code on the teddy bear where they can flash their mobile device, and anytime it takes them to a psychologist so they can talk through their issues. So she's learning how to solve problems in her own community. From there, where do they go? Well, she goes into our internship employment program, which is led by Professor Mike Malloy at Georgetown University, who teaches a similar course at the collegiate level. Let me just show you how parts of our internship finder works. We use machine learning and a web crawler. So we scrape the skills that she's learned through the course. We also look at the grades and courses that she's taken previously in her high school. And then it matches her with potential opportunities. This particular individual student wanted to do something in, I believe, engineering. So she sees all the opportunity. The web crawler identified these amazing internships for her. So she's looking, she's searching, where do I want to apply? Meanwhile, she has gone through our course with Professor Malloy on how to develop a resume, on how to prepare for interviews. Here she goes. Looks like she's about to pick one. Sends her right to that site. And then the resume, which she learned to do in her course, she'll go ahead and submit. This is also patent pending. We filed multiple patents on most of our products. So let's go back to Jay. Jay, as we learned earlier, has a super passion for social justice. So going through our internship course, using the internship finder, she found this great opportunity called Seeding Disruption, where it's going to pay her $1,000 to work on her cause, her passion, social justice. Now that she's done those two, she's inspired. She wants to go to college. So she'll go through our college counseling program and our essay writing program, and she will go to college. We have completely changed the trajectory of Jay. She's following her passion for an internship. She actually does better in her other courses that she takes in high school, and she's going to go to college. That was phase one. Phase two, as we begin to scale, is what we did this year. We took all our courses and made them asynchronous, which is on-demand courses. Our essay writing, college counseling, and our internship program, we added machine learning and web crawlers. Our machine learning team is led by someone with the Google Machine Learning Challenge, as well as one of our board members who is part of, or was the CTO of Hobson's, which is one of the largest ed tech companies in the world, which just sold for $500 million. Then we're planning to enter phase three in Q2 of this year. That kind of came out of an opportunity. A school district came to us and said, listen, we love your curriculum. We love your content. We love your expertise. But what we also would love to see is small snippets of what you do. Is there an opportunity to do like a unit or even something smaller? So let me tell you how this would work. If a teacher calls off or they just need a lesson plan, say on agile development, they can go on our platform. The students can take an hour course from a Johns Hopkins professor on agile development. Or if there's a professional day and all the teachers are off campus, the students can go on the platform and take that course or take that one unit. But here's where it gets where we think super exciting. Let's assume the teacher has a project in the class and says, we want to create an umbrella today. And we want to implement design thinking as the process to help build that umbrella. Well, as part of the platform, the students get to watch a 2-minute TikTok on design thinking from a Stanford D School coach, or another TikTok on another important element of design thinking. From there, that student can invite others to collaborate on that project. So they could be in that same class, or they could be in the same school district, or initially, or eventually, what's super exciting is you could have this collaborative project where students from all over the world, from Tel Aviv, Singapore, Montgomery County, Washington, D.C., are all collaborating, watching these small TikTok units from top-tier professors. These really amazing PBLs are starting to develop. So we're super excited about that. Our initial success. In the summer of 2020, we had about $67,000 in revenue, had a lot of students going, and that was our live synchronous course. This year, in our first really full year, 2021, by using our asynchronous course, we were able to start scaling. We hit about $334,000 in revenue. And as we continue phase two and go into phase three, we're projecting $1.2 million this year in 2022. Our traction, we've had some really great traction with nonprofits, 3 foundations, school districts, both independent, private schools, even a work source has come to us for young adult learners to start using our product. The opportunity. The TAM is huge. There's 17.1 million students in the United States alone. There's about 15.5 million students in public school. Our goal is to capture even just a small part of that, about 1%, less than 1%, which is 100,000 students. Our business model, we charge $300 per course, and we're hoping by year 5 to hit about $30 million in revenue. Intellectual property, we filed 2 patents. John and I have in the queue about 5 or 6 other patents we're going to be filing as well this year, and a few trademarks and copyright you don't need to register. Our competition. So we have 2 basic forms of competition: the high-touch nonprofits who do a wonderful job, like junior achievement, leadership initiatives. They have difficulty in scaling because it's so high touch. And then you have the traditional Courseras, edXs of the world. We have what we think is an enormous competitive advantage. One, we are focusing on K-12 schools, but we also hit a bit of blue ocean where we partner with nonprofits, work source committees, Prince George's Community Library, where 1,000 students are going to come to us this summer. We have multiple patents filed, and our team is just great. Typical exits. There are multiple verticals we think we can hit for an exit. Traditional ed tech, K through 12, LMS, and workforce. We are seeing exits at the moment from 5x all the way to 30x. Student outcomes. As Tien alluded to earlier, we measure all the outcomes for all these students as they come through our courses, and the results are pretty awesome. 83% of the students that go through our course are more optimistic about their future. They do better in their other courses. They are more prepared and feel prepared for college. They're more confident in starting their own business. 1 out of 4 who didn't even think about going to college now want to attend college. So we're super excited about that. And the mindset. Tien again spoke to this earlier. The entrepreneurship mindset is so key to what we do. These students are more confident coming through our courses than they ever were before. Our team. Just a little background on some of the folks. John is amazing, colleague and friend of mine for many years. We met at Georgetown University. He was Maryland Clean Energy Social Entrepreneur of the Year, professor at Georgetown. I was National Entrepreneur Educator of the Year, have had 5 different startups. This is my 6th. I'm super excited about this. Karen Levinson comes from Cornell University. She is a CPA and is our CFO. Tremaine Davis runs community partnerships. He was a professional athlete, wonderful, wonderful human being with a wonderful heart. William Casper ran sales for Discovery Education K through 12 unit. Our board is awesome. I rely on them heavily. I've met 2 of them again this week for private coffees. Anyone on my board has the unlucky advantage of giving out their phone number because I call them many times. Marla Beck was the founder of Blue Mercury. Melissa's an incredible investor in this area. Dan was the founder of Cornell eLabs. Talia Fox was not just works with us, but she was also former director of the Harvard University Fellowship Program. John was the CFO of 3 different publicly traded companies. Tom is a wonderful CPA in this area. Neil headed head of product at Social Tables, and JP was the first investor in Social Tables. I'm sorry, Neil was at Everfry. Funds for this year. We are anticipating, really expanding pretty quickly this year. As Tien indicated, we have $1.1 million of investment. We are looking to hit $1.2 million in revenue this year. We're not hitting 3,300. We anticipate actually $4,000 based on our 4,000 students based on our pipeline. So we're going to be ramping up more machine learning programmers. We're going to hire someone head of Agile, more Salesforce, and we're going to file more patents. And I would just stop sharing and like to leave you all on one note. I've been an entrepreneur for many, many years, and this is my 6th startup. I've had celebrity investors, raised venture capital, been a professor, taught K through 12. Sometimes you just feel like moments of time are just situated and suited for where you are in life. I get up every day invigorated and inspired knowing that John and I are having such a positive impact on so many different students. It's amazing getting on a call with a school administrator and they are telling us this is so exciting. They haven't seen something in 30 years, something like this. Or a parent coming to them and said, my child now wants to go to college. So it's just an inspiration. And John and I really appreciate the time to listen. So we're open for questions. And Tien, hopefully I hit your 20-minute mark and I didn't bore everyone too much my diatribe.
No, that was great, Marc, and thank you so much. And we'll have Skylar moderate the Q&A session. I know we've gotten some questions coming in already, and feel free to type your questions into the chat or directly message Sky, or if you would like to ask the question live, just raise your hand and we'll call on you. So Sky, I'll let you take it away from here.
Perfect, thanks so much. So Marc, the first question is, how do you get the word out to students? Who pays you, the students or the schools, and which model works best?
Yeah, awesome. So 2-part answer. One, we continue to run experiments. We really believe in lean methodology, and So we're running experiments in terms of who the payer is. But what we found is really a B2G sale. So we partner with school districts or nonprofits, and they, instead of just sending one or two students, they'll send us a whole host of students. So that's how it works. And the nonprofits, normally we partner with a foundation, and the foundation will sponsor them. So let me give you an example of how that works. Like Girls Who Start sent X amount of students to their first cohort. They were sponsored by the Blair Foundation. They were so impressed with the outcomes that they have that they 8X their next enrollment, where the Blair Foundation supported those students to the next foundation. For school districts, it's the same. School districts are actually kind of awash with COVID funds at the moment. So they do have a lot of those funds. And they're looking to two things. One, they're looking to expand and have better outcomes for their students to send these kids to college. And two, many states are requiring entrepreneurship. So we'll align our curriculum with that state mandate, those state requirements.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. The next question says 5 times to 30 times EBITDA. So that earnings before interest, taxes, all that stuff. So I think it's more of a question to be more specific, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It is times EBITDA.
Okay.
If that answered the question.
Okay, next question is, I have to think that $300 is a lot for these students. Are they getting their money's worth? Or are they getting their money from grants, nonprofits, etc.?
Yeah, so the nonprofit model, they're sponsored by the foundations, so there's no cost to the kids. That's a great question. The nonprofits, they really partner with these foundations, and the foundations and nonprofits are ecstatic because here's a program that shows them real outcomes. So we issue reports. We're basically like a vendor to that nonprofit. We issue reports, sit down with the nonprofits. All the nonprofits have re-signed up and actually increased enrollment as we've gone through this. So it's been pretty exciting to see that. For schools, it is a school model. So right now the schools have been paying for it, but we are, we're looking at other opportunities for them too. If they need corporate sponsors, we can also bring some of the corporate sponsors to those programs.
Okay. The next question says, how much are you raising this round and how much has been raised so far? And what are the terms of the investment?
Yeah, awesome. So we are raising $1.5 million for this seed round. It's a convertible note. We've raised $1.1 million. The value cap is $10 million. The discount is 20% and 5% interest.
Okay.
And we, Skylar, could I just add, we anticipate going to our Series A within 18 months.
Okay.
Thank you.
This says, can he remind us again about how much is being raised? Okay. And what is the valuation or the terms? Okay. So pretty similar. What are the valuations of the terms of, what are the valuations or the terms of the convert if it is debt?
Yeah, so Skylar, just like I spoke about before, it's a 20% discount, 10 million valuation cap, 5% interest, and Series A is planned in 18 months.
Okay, thank you. How you plan to measure the impact on these high school students in the long term? Like if they get into college, if they get hired in their chosen field, etc.
Yeah, I'll defer that question to my awesome co-founder, who I know has been looking at this pretty heavily. Go ahead, John.
So we have two things that we're doing here. One of them is that we are actually surveying these students directly, and we survey them before the course starts, after the course starts, and then we do periodic follow-ups to find out where they went to school, what their major was, all that kind of information. And then the second thing we're doing is putting together long-term study protocols with educational institutions that can do controlled studies tracking these different outcomes over time. So we are working in Montgomery County and also in Massachusetts with universities and experts in educational tracking that can help us put these things together.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, John. Could you explain the availability of equity for investment? Yeah, go for it.
It's based on a note. So the terms for equity will really be set at Series A. And you'll come in obviously as preferred as part of Series A.
Okay. Next question is, are there any partnership opportunities with companies like Everfry?
Yeah, so I've had a couple conversations with Tom. He's pretty awesome. Tom Davidson, the CEO. And Marla Beck, one of my board members, is very close to Tom. So we do see great potential with Everfry and other companies like Everfry, which is just awesome. I'm a big admirer of Tom. I think he's super smart, and I love what they've done. And to be honest, a lot of our model is based on what Tom has been able to achieve. But yeah, the short answer is yes.
Okay, great. How many students have taken the program so far?
Yeah, 182. I think it's in that presentation. I may have blown by it. If I did, I apologize. We're anticipated in the pipeline about 4,000 students for 2022, but I believe it was 182 for 2021. I can't believe it's 2022 already. Gosh, it's crazy.
Frank would like to know if you'll be okay sharing the presentation. So yeah, we can share that with everyone after, if Mark's okay with that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Do you have multiple outcomes you're pursuing, or is college application / admission the main goal?
So I'll defer that to John in terms of the actual outcomes, and then I can elaborate from there.
Yeah, so in terms of the outcomes of the program on a student's life, we're looking at getting them into better colleges, into college and then better colleges, and then getting them into better paying jobs. So we're tuning our algorithms such that they achieve those outcomes. But what we have seen happen, and I think what you saw from some of the results that Marc showed, is that we're changing minds. We're seeing people that are coming out different, that this teaching them about entrepreneurship really does something magical that is quite shocking in a great way to see reported in these surveys. I mean, we use validated surveys by Eckerd College to show entrepreneurial mindset, which are used all over the world. And we can see before and after, big changes in things like creativity, resilience. So there's something happening here, and it's not just about college and workforce. We're putting people on a different trajectory.
Awesome. And Skylar, just to add, there's two trajectories in life for these students. One is going to college or a better college. And the second is there's a reality that some of these kids won't go to college, that college, for whatever reason, is not for them. So we will get them a better paying job through our courses, through our other courses, through our internship finder, through our employment search, through being prepared, how to get a job. It is that trajectory of just that mindset. It's awesome. My goal, my personal goal, I would love to see them in college, but it's not for everybody.
Got it. Thanks, Marc and John. Sukumar, I know you have a question. If you want to unmute, you can ask it.
Thanks, Skylar. I think I can talk faster than I can type. So 2 questions. On the cost side, how are you building your syllabus of courses, and how are you paying those people who develop the courses and then also teach the courses?
So our team of professors build the courses, build out the curriculum. So they're part of our team. So they're employees. We have a couple consultants here, though, but they're part of university startups. So Salima, Lena, Brooke Smith, Karen Levinson, they're all part of our team. We're all professors, so we're building out that course. So we pay them as employees. That's the first part. I'm sorry if I missed the second part of the question.
So you're going to hit a finite limit, right? You're going to have 5 courses, 10 courses, 20 courses. How do you graduate to hundreds of courses, or is that not part of the plan? Because that's going to be that means cost and effort.
Yeah, I'll defer to John on that, and then I'll chime in as well. But go ahead, John. You're on mute.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. I think we're very customer-led right now. We're listening to the customers in the schools, in the school districts, and they're telling us what they want. We heard from a customer the other day that they want resume training for their students on professional days. Boom, we're going to knock something like that out. So I think we can come up with, certainly over the next couple of years, a big number of courses that meet, what they're looking for. But there's all kinds of possibilities going forward in terms of sourcing, crowdsourcing, and all kinds of other things once the platform is fully built.
On the search for internships, how are you doing a better job than a student going on Google and searching for internships?
Yeah, that's a great question. What we found with students that go on Google is that it just throws so many different kinds of jobs at you in all these different fields, and some of them are for high schoolers, some of them are for adults, some of them are for, it's just a big time suck. What we did was 2 things. One, we built a machine learning model which focuses entirely on the student's interests. So we don't start with find a job in, Silver Spring, Maryland. We start with, hey, what clubs are you in right now? What's your favorite class? Have you done any extracurricular activities? And we take that student interest information, and we use that to power a very targeted scraping algorithm, which pulls only high school internships and presents that to the students. So it's a very different approach. It provides great results. And I'm pretty excited also that we can tune it to, for example, we know that 50% of people who graduate high school who go get jobs end up in low-wage food service or retail. We can tune these results to push the jobs that are being presented to the best available, as opposed to just the standard, fast food type of job. So I think that's a really core part of our strategy in getting these good outcomes.
So I think I saw 100,000 times 300, 30 million. What is the projected EBITDA on that?
So I will go back and give you those numbers. Karen Levinson, our CFO, has that exact EBITDA number. So I don't want to give you a bad number on that. But I'll send you my financials as well.
Okay. Oh, one other question. So I have a foundation, and the primary focus is education. So if I was going to sponsor a couple of students, would I pay you directly, or do I pay the students who then pay you?
You go through the nonprofit. So you would partner with one of our nonprofits, and the payment would be a nonprofit, and we would enter into a vendor agreement with that nonprofit.
Got it. Okay.
And we'd love to partner with you. So let's connect afterwards.
Thanks, Sukumar.
Awesome.
Okay. The next question is there any plans to create a longer-term pricing model to capture students for longer periods of time?
Yeah, that's part of our phase 3. That really is our growth model. We're super excited about this platform, where it's a SaaS, basically. It's $9.99 a student, where they're on it. It's a recurring revenue every month. They use our platform, and they'll have access to all these small bite lessons, from a 2-hour session on design thinking to a 2-minute TikTok on agile development. Taught and instructed by top-tier professors. So we're super excited about that.
Okay, thanks, Mark. And really quick, we're going to continue with the Q&A, but I'm going to run a poll just to get your interest level in university startups. And it is a confidential poll, so the results will not be shared. But while that's up, we'll continue with Q&A. So the next question is, how many employees will it take to service 4,000 students?
Yeah, so we have a hiring plan in place right now to not just at 4,000, but 10,000. And John and I have a review with our investors over the next 2 weeks. We anticipate growing our team. We have about 15 employees now. We anticipate growing our team by another 10 people to accommodate the 4,000 students that we have. Much of what we're building out now is scalable and repeatable, less high touch than when we initially started.
Okay, great. And this one we can just repeat for those who missed it, but it says, not sure if this is in the presentation or I missed it, but what are the terms for equity investment? So if we just want to say that one more time.
Sure, no worries. It's a convertible note. It is a 20% discount. It is a 5% interest, and the valuation cap is $10 million. And we're going to our Series A in 18 months, and that's the time it will convert.
Awesome. The audience you are trying to target, many don't know if it's college or what career path they want. How are you building the curriculum and tracking engagement so that they continue with the whole process to get them to the finish line? How is the platform or curriculum built to expose the students to all the opportunities they can pursue, college or not?
Awesome. I'll defer that question to John.
Yeah, so I think there's two questions in there. One of them is what's the secret sauce? And a big part of the secret sauce with the social entrepreneurship course is the students get a project and they work in teams with this project, and they are required to reach out to various customers and to do customer interviews. And they also get tied in with a mentor. And these are steps that most of these students have never had to go through before. And the end result is it opens their minds up to all different kinds of things. They're talking to a mentor, an adult mentor, a lot of times for the very first time. They're getting advice, they're talking to customers, they're doing outreach, and this really opens up their minds to opportunities, to things that they haven't thought about before, industries, people, pathways. How did these people get to where they are? So that's definitely a big part of this. A second thing is the curriculum itself. We have built various tools, behavioral nudges into the various courses such that kids get a badge when they go through the customer analysis section. So now they can say that they've got a customer analysis badge, and other various behavioral nudges which keep them motivated, which keep them going to the next course and to get that next reward. There's citations. For example, if you finish 3 courses, you can be a university startup scholar. There's a whole range of behavioral things that we do to keep them going, and that's only going to increase.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. I know Rob Colorina has a question. Do you want to unmute and ask Rob?
Yep. Thanks, Skylar and Tien. Question, how do you guys hedge against policy risks? Because I think when you deal with different cities and municipalities, it's not a cookie cutter approach because you've got both different politics and you've got, education with different budget levels and priorities within sort of those ecosystems.
It's an awesome question. We actually have. I've met with multiple congressmen and senators from multiple states in both part of the aisles. The one thing they do have in common is they want to see better outcomes for these kids. So when I show them the outcomes of our courses, and then I compare them to their state outcomes, they're a bit overwhelmed. That's the first part of it. The second part of it, you hit it on the nail. Different states have different requirements for entrepreneurship. They're similar, but there are some nuances. So when we approach, we'll be in Virginia next year, for example, or South Carolina. They have slightly different nuances in their state requirements for entrepreneurship. It's easy for us to customize, even our asynchronous courses to align but everything we do goes way and above those simple state standards. They don't cover things that they'll get in college. They don't cover lean methodology. They don't cover jobs to be done. They don't cover basic outcomes of real entrepreneurship. So they're excited to have our expertise. But that's a great question. In fact, part of our hiring needs is hiring someone just for that role. Part lobbyist, part government consultant, part government schmoozer, we like to call that person. But yes, that is something we desperately need.
Thanks. And for disclosure, I served on a couple boards for my alma mater, University of Virginia. So I
Awesome.
kind of saw that a little bit from around, the state and the country. Thank you.
Yeah. I'd love to have a follow-up conversation, Rob, as well. Awesome.
Okay. Next question is your curriculum only asynchronous? How is the curriculum designed that it is culture and age appropriate?
So we started the company with live synchronous social entrepreneurship courses. We've now moved the entire curriculum, all 5 courses, to async in Canvas, which is awesome because that's the platform that these kids are going to be using if they go to college, because most colleges use Canvas. So yeah, it's asynchronous right now. We are completely focused on high school students. That's our focus right now. So we have lots of experience in teaching high school students age-appropriate material. We tune the material. We test the material with high school students before we release it. So we take into consideration all of the data sharing and the privacy requirements, not only for our courses, but also for mentors and instructors that come onto the course. We make sure that they're trained in the things that they need to be aware of, even in a Zoom room with high school students. So yeah, this is kind of at the core of what we do.
Awesome. We also have on our team Talia Fox, who's an expert on diversity and inclusion. So she has been working with us for over a year now on making sure that it is social, not just a social impact, but these are inclusive type courses.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So this next one is kind of a 2-part question. So I'll ask the first part first. Says, can you explain the sales process? What is the timeline for these multi-stakeholder sales? And what are the CAC and ARPU?
Awesome. That's a great question. So 2 parts. There is, the long sale, which is the school district. It took us a while to get into school district, typically about 6 months, for the curriculum to embed into the curriculum. And we look for these entry points. The smaller platform that we're moving to is, I think that sale was literally about 2 or 3 weeks. John, correct me if I'm wrong. From the time the customer told us that this is an opportunity, we want you to start building out this platform. So again, even the platform itself is a lot easier sale than what we've seen before. The customer acquisition cost right now, $300 per student is what we're charging. We're seeing about 10 to 15% of CAC. We anticipate that going down, but at the moment it's between 10 to 15%.
Okay. What does your pipeline look like with regards to nonprofits versus school districts?
So we are primarily focusing on K through 12, and we hit different verticals. Our breakdown is we'll see about 500 students in the nonprofits this year and about 3,500 through the school districts. And I include public libraries as part of the school districts.
Okay, and kind of a follow-up to that one is, what are your thoughts on the optimal mix of nonprofits versus districts for an exit?
So we think we view that slightly different. We see the number of students going through our program, being engaged, not just taking our social entrepreneurship program, but then going into our college programs as our metric. The mix is what I described before. About 3,500 students will be coming through the school districts. About 500 will be coming through the nonprofits. Hopefully that answered, but that's the mix we've seen so far, and that's where we're headed.
Okay, great. I know there's another question about financials. If anyone wants financials, just let me know in the chat, and then I can give Marc the list of people who wanted that, and we can get that to you.
Awesome.
Sukumar, do you have another question?
Yeah, let me piggyback off the previous question on acquisition costs. So that's like, if I remember right, 5,000 counties in the country. Even if you were going to go after 10% of those counties, that's 500 counties, 500 times the sales effort. That's a forbidding challenge. Do you have people on your team that have experience with selling to state and local governments? And how are you going to solve this problem?
Yeah, so we, out of the 17.1 million students, we want to hit 100,000 students. So Montgomery County alone has 156,000 students. If we were just to stay in MCPS, we would actually hit our goal of $30 million after 5 years. In terms of who we have on our team, we have a person who led sales for Discovery Education for K through 12. So he had a team about, I want to say about 70 to 90 people. I think his budget was, $70 million in terms of getting, building out Discovery Education. He came on board when it was floundering and really kind of propped it up. So we're super excited to have him on board. And I think I alluded to earlier, we are going to have someone in that role of lobbyists, government relations, because we do think that's an important piece. We're hoping to earmark down the road, not necessarily this year, but eventually earmark some dollars to this cause.
Are you looking at selling to the federal government and kind of, hub and spoke type sales approach?
So we have someone who's focusing on RFPs, and looking at opportunities there. So since we're so young in the game, we run multiple experiments at all times, and that goes from product to sales. We run, quick little sprints to see what's there, what's working, what's not working. We reflect and iterate and go from there. So we do have someone focusing on RFPs that has been going to local government, community, outreaches, and we're experimenting to see how it goes. But we've already have something with a local workforce.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sukumar. Next question. How long is the sales cycle to school boards?
So we don't go to school boards. We have two real segments that we've been targeting so far. One is the superintendent's office. They have in that office themselves, a lot of them have something called a strategic director and director of curriculum. So that's who we've been targeting in one part of it. And then there's another super exciting part that was pretty fortuitous that kind of came to us, to John and his team, is there's a lot of professional development days. There's a lot of trying to align themselves with what's going on in the business community. And they came to us asking us to put together this platform of opportunities in short snippets. So those are the two segments that we've seen so far. The third one is career technology folks. A lot of them, they're called CTE offices. And we're working with some of those as well.
Okay. Long term, what are the potential data plays here? You will be collecting a lot of valuable information, and you'll presumably have the opportunity to maintain longer term relationships with these individual students also, right? Are there monetization opportunities down the road?
I'll defer to John.
Yeah, I think because these are still youngsters, I think we're very careful about that. But what we do see is a big opportunity for advanced analytics and learning. So as these students are going through these courses, we are capturing data on what they're clicking, how they learn, their interests. And we can use this data to make the learning process so much better in a completely connected way. So, for example, people could go through our counseling course, and the information that they're being asked could all be pulled together in actually connect with the college application, so that the college application can be done pretty much by the time they get through our course. And we can make suggestions to the students about careers and about jobs based on the knowledge that we saw from them in a prior course where they told us about their interests, or we know what project they worked on. So there's really, with today's data availability, there's just some great opportunities just to make this a world-class learning experience for the students. And I think it just makes it a best-in-class product.
Okay, thanks, John. Did you have something else, Marc?
Just real quickly, I love the possibility of a longitudinal study, seeing the entrepreneurship mindset impact that we can have on these students, changing an entire ecosystem, becoming more like, that you see in Route 128 in Boston or other areas, a hotbed in Denver, building the opportunities to see the impact that we have on these kids longitudinally is just super exciting.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks, Marc. Another question is, do you customize your curriculums depending on the school districts, or do you have a generic curriculum?
John?
Yeah, at this stage, we have a generic curriculum, but we can pretty quickly customize it if the school district requires it. So yeah, we're very agile in that manner.
Okay, great. I think that was the last question that I had. If anyone else has any other questions, feel free to unmute yourself now. Otherwise, Marc or John, if you had any final remarks.
I feel like I'm at a wedding, if you agree to this wedding, forever hold your peace. But listen, we really enjoyed it. John and I appreciate the opportunity. Even if you aren't considering investment, which hopefully all you are, we'd love to touch base and learn. And, if there's potential partnerships or other opportunities, we'd love to make that connection as well.
A quick question. Did you share anything about your board or advisory board? Do you have I would imagine some pretty serious industry heavyweights there?
Yeah, I'll be happy to share that. But just real quickly, we have Bobby Teher. He was the CTO of Hobson's, which part of their products was Naviance, which is over 52% of all high schools. It's a college counseling tool. He advises our technical team. We have Marla Beck, who's the founder of Blue Mercury, was on the board of edX that I think just sold for $800 million. We have Jonathan Pirelli, first investor in Social Tables, founded the first incubator in DC called Fortify Ventures. I think he's had 6 different startups. We have Dan Cohen, who is the founder of Cornell eLabs, kind of a world-renowned researcher in entrepreneurship. We have Talia Fox, who's the former director at the Harvard University Fellowship Program and diversity inclusion expert. We have Melissa Bradley. She is on the board and founder of 1863 Ventures. She's also a professor at Georgetown University. We have Tan Rafa, who is a CPA to the Social Impact Stars, including Ken Nicole and a bunch of other folks, great social impact investors. Neil Shah, who was the head of product at Everfry. I think someone mentioned Everfry before. So he's kind of been through this radio before. And John, am I missing anybody? I know, I'm sure I'm forgetting someone, but it's in the presentation, Rob, so I'll make sure that you do get that. And Tim Wilson, obviously from TEDCO, is a board observer. For some reason, TEDCO has some wacky rules where they can't be on the board, but he's a board observer with us.
Awesome. Thanks, Marc. Okay, I think that's it for our questions. We'd like to thank everyone for coming today and thank Marc and John for being here. It was a great meeting, so thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes,
we appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. And Skylar will follow up with emails to all of you with a copy of the deck, as well as the link to this recording for those of you who joined late. And there's a lot of information that you might have missed, Rob, for example. But the deck also has the bio and headshots of the advisory board members, among other things. So thank you guys so much for joining. For those of you who responded to the poll, we will have John and Marc will be reaching out to you guys as well. So thank you so much. This is a wonderful opportunity. I'm thrilled about everything you guys are doing, and keep up the great work, because you're doing, I mean, it's just a wonderful double bottom line situation. So you can make money by doing well and doing good for the community as a whole. So thank you so much, and keep up the great work.
Thanks
Thank you.
again.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Great work.
Bye-bye.